Review podcast. It's Valentine's Day, and we're having a podcast.
Welcome to the Review Podcast. I'm Anthony.
I'm Brie.
And we're here on a very special episode of the Review Podcast. We are not on our normal Saturday schedule. We're on, what is it, Monday?
Yeah.
Monday on Valentine's Day. Welcome, Brie.
Welcome.
Hi,
everybody.
How are you today on this wonderful day? We're not recording this on Valentine's Day, but
we got plans because
it's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day, and we're together.
So we're obviously not recording this on Valentine's Day, but we are doing a very special episode of the Review Podcast. How are you today, Brie?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. It's lovey. Love is in the air on the Review Podcast. Brie, I have a question for you before we get started with this.
Shoot.
What do you love?
What do I love?
Because I always ask you what scares you. We always do scary movies. And today we're doing something different. What do you love?
Well,
and don't say me or Kaido.
Oh, dang. Because my go-to is you and Kaido.
Yeah.
And Mittens, of course, our cat. I love, little surprises.
Like what?
Like flowers when you're not expecting flowers.
Flowers on a rainy day.
Yeah, like flowers. I have to think of the one time I didn't get a part, or the part that I wanted in the musical in high school, and I came home and my mom had gotten me a bouquet of flowers and I just cried. I was like, I needed this. So I love little surprises. Anthony's not a little surprises guy.
I'm a big gesture
He's
guy.
a big gesture guy. We're just, I'm like, I would really like some flowers sometimes. And he's like, why? They just die.
Opposites attract, baby. And I'm dressed like a cat. But opposites do attract. We are somewhat it's what is it from How I Met Your Mother? We've always talked about the olive theory, right? Where it's like, do you love olives?
I love olives.
I hate olives. Can't stand them. Can't stand them. But that's how you judge. Kaido's in the background.
But we both love pickles. And that's what
we both love pickles, yes. And we have so much in common. And this is, we say love is in the air, Brie, because we are watching Valentine's Day. Oh gosh, what year? I'm gonna have to Google this super quick. I forgot the year, and I didn't do my research on this because this was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
I picked the movie, Abby.
2010 film, Valentine's Day. So not too long ago. It's quite recent.
Anthony,
11 years.
11 years.
11 years is recent.
It's not recent. Gosh. We're old.
I remember when it came out, and everyone was really stoked on this is Taylor Swift's big thing, right? She had just started becoming a household name in country music at the time, or pop country. And this was wow, they're putting Taylor Swift in a movie and they're doing it with her boyfriend. This is going to be great. And she has a very small part.
It's small, but Taylor did a great job.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, we were debating doing the Valentine's Day episode, and
we had a couple movies in mind.
We had a couple movies in mind, and it was tough to settle on one. Brie, at the very first, said Valentine's Day because it's Valentine's Day, and it's a holiday movie.
Valentine's Day, the movie, in quite some time, and I'm a big fan of ensemble movies where everyone is interconnected. Love
New Year's Eve, all those other holiday movies. I think they did Mother's Day too. Was the last one they did, but I threw out the suggestion of Punch Drunk Love because I told Brie, I'm like, what do we want? Do we want to do something where we can turn our brains off and we can just enjoy the movie, or do we want the art house? Because Punch Drunk Love by director Paul Thomas Anderson, who's one of my favorite directors, we'll get to it eventually. But
I just said we can't do it for a review until I watch it first. You know what I mean?
I've seen it multiple times, and I love Punch Drunk Love. I think Punch Drunk Love is the quintessential romance movie. It's the most visually fulfilling romance movie that you can see, but that's a story for another day. Right here, we're talking about Valentine's Day.
Which, you know, there was a couple of movies that I threw out there at first. I am more of the romantic comedy, like
turn your brain off.
turn your brain off. Like, I was like, oh, you know what movie I love? I'm like, Valentine's Day is good, but I love He's Just Not That Into You.
Which we watched recently. Like, I feel like we watched that.
I made you watch it like a couple months ago. And then I was like, oh, we could watch The Proposal. Like, there's so many like really good movies to watch. I didn't want to watch like anything too
serious or too like
someone they have recommended Eternal Sunshine. I'm like, that wasn't romance.
No. I briefly mentioned Eternal Sunshine. I didn't like say seriously we should watch this on Valentine's Day, because it's not a Valentine's Day movie. At the heart of it, it's a breakup film. Again, that's a movie we'll get into a little bit later. That is one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie.
But we have this movie, Valentine's Day, and it is
not my favorite movie, but
it's star-studded. It has so many stars in this movie. Even the background characters are stars. George Lopez, Kathy Bates.
He's not a background character. Kathy Bates is a background character. Which I looked at you in the middle of the movie, or at the end of the movie. Kathy Bates has 2 scenes in this movie. One at the beginning, one at the very end.
They paid her so much money.
I bet she got paid so much money, and she was in the movie for maybe a grand total of 10 seconds.
Like, our cast is like Ashton Kutcher, Jessica Alba.
Oh, I got him.
Jamie Foxx, Patrick Dempsey, Topher Grace, Anne Hathaway, Taylor Swift, Taylor Lautner,
Grandpa, whose names I don't know.
Oh yeah, there was like a ton of like. If you're a big fan of The Princess Diaries, I got you. It's almost the exact same cast as The Princess Diaries.
Well, that's the thing.
Minus Julie Andrews.
This is from the same director, Garry Marshall. Garry Marshall is very notable, very, I would say, a prolific director. Even though we don't hear his name often, he's not in the ranks of the Spielbergs and the Robert Zemeckis's and the Quentin Tarantinos. Like, he's not that household name. However, when you look at like a lot of just fun movies, fun comedy, romance, like these cheesy goofball movies, Garry Marshall's attached to it almost every time. Garry Marshall did Princess Diaries 2, Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, The Princess Bride. I think he did The Princess Bride. He did Happy Days. He got to start on Happy Days. And he also did, which is a different vibe for Garry Marshall, but he also did Pretty Woman as well.
And you can tell because, okay, so he has an obsession with like the cast of major cast members from The Princess Diaries is in this. So Anne Hathaway, you got the guy who plays Paolo. He works for Southwest in this movie. You have Joe, the limo driver, plays the old man. And then you have the receptionist for the Queen is also works at the flower shop. So like there's so many characters. And then Julia Roberts is in the movie and she's from Pretty Woman, but also Joe, the limo guy from Princess Diaries, was the front desk guy in Pretty Woman, and so was that receptionist woman. She also worked at the hotel in Pretty Woman. So like
it's just like the movie where we have like this phenomenally large cast.
4 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Right. Like they all interact with each other in the movie. Is like we have this phenomenally large cast that has all been in different Garry Marshall movies, and they all kind of play similar roles to one another. And they even reference like past Garry Marshall movies in the movie. Like Julia Roberts makes Pretty Woman references in the movie.
And then we have some other like stars. Bradley Cooper is in it.
Great. Bradley Cooper's awesome.
Jessica Biel. Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts, awesome.
And then we have that guy for other like hot guy from Grey's Anatomy. Don't know his name.
Patrick Dempsey?
No, the other hot guy. The one who played
Eric Dane.
Okay, he played the gay football player in this movie.
Yes. Yeah. So like there's Brie and I were discussing like
can't forget Jennifer Garner.
And Jennifer Gardner, yes, and Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher.
Couture.
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 So Brie and I were discussing like how to approach this movie on the podcast, because like usually we go through these movies beat by beat and we talk about like scene by scene and not dissect it, but like just talk about it. And you can't do that with this movie because there's so many different moving parts, and eventually they come together, but it's almost non-linear in a way where you get a little bit of Ashton Kutcher's story, and then you get a little bit of Jamie Foxx's story, and you get a little bit of Emma Roberts' story here, and they intersplice it, you know, in a way where you can't tell this story just by going, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, like we normally do.
And it's really, like, it's obvious that the star of the movie is Ashton Kutcher and Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah, like most of the characters revolve around like the relationships to
those two characters who are friends.
So the way we decided to kind of approach this movie is we'll just talk about the characters as much as we can, because like, by God, there's a shitload of them.
But
there's so many characters. Like at a point, like for our people on our video modem, like you can see, I tried in my notes, I tried to make like a web of who they were and how they were connected, and I got lost after a while. Like this is a tangled web that we weave, and I got lost. I lost track of all of this after a while, and then I just shut my brain off, and I was like, why the fuck do I care? Because I'm enjoying the movie, and it was long. It's a long movie.
It is very long.
But I was like, why do I even care about trying to connect this together? Like, it is connected. I just can't untangle the web. And
the webs we weave.
Yeah, I can't untangle the web, and why do I give a shit? Right? Like, I don't think this movie is supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to give a shit. You're supposed to be like, oh, they're connected. Great. Let's move on. But before we get into talking about the movie in great detail, we have a Brie's treat. You may notice that we have in our video modem a lot of stuff on this table right now. What do we got, Brie?
It's romance. It's Valentine's Day. It's champagne and orange juice mimosas. Woohoo!
Oh yeah.
It's mostly champagne.
Oh yeah.
You cut it with some orange juice. We have the Signature Select Jewel brand.
The cheapo orange juice.
Any orange juice will do. This is not our first time having mimosas today. We had them earlier as well.
Which at this place that we were at, I said, let's get a mimosa. And the waiter comes back with a champagne glass full of, see how this in the video modem, if you're watching on the YouTube,
it's obviously orange.
It's orange. Like, it's very much orange. The waiter comes back and it looks like almost pineapple juice, but like a little duller than pineapple juice. And I was like, how much orange juice is in this thing? So I drink it. I was like, holy crap, this is strong. There's no orange juice in this thing at all. So
we got a little tipsy at brunch.
Yeah, and I was like, better stop. I gotta drive. Right?
It was very fun. But, you know, keep that romance alive if you are taking your significant other out on Valentine's Day. Just remember, if you can't get a reservation somewhere, like, that's fine. It's more about people love you for who you are. Like, we've talked about it. We're not doing anything fancy. We usually go out to a fancy dinner, but, you know, it's on a Monday. We both teach. We're both going to be tired. Let's just pick up something. Let's just eat in. I even offered to make something. I was like, oh, we probably are going to go with either McDonald's or Portillo's.
We'll do a feast. Yeah.
Just because it's not about...
Kaido's licking the wall. BT dub. He's in the background just licking the wall.
I think it's more about the company you keep than...
Yeah.
You know, the Hallmark holiday.
Because this is a special Love is in the Air, lovey-dovey, smoochy Valentine's Day episode of the Review Podcast, I thought it would be fun if Brie and I did a little question and answer intercut between our conversations about the movie. So we got a bunch of questions that are very similar to the Newlywed Game, where we have to answer like for each other, and we'll see how much we actually know. And how about we play this game, Brie?
Okay, I'm gonna write my answers down so I can't trick you.
Oh, you're gonna write them down.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna write them down. But how about we play this game? If we get it wrong about one another, we have to take a drink of our Brie Street mimosa.
Sounds good to me.
And I feel like we're gonna be taking a lot of drinks because I feel like we're gonna get.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Your first question. Where did you first meet your spouse?
We first met
Don't be too specific here because we
we first met on a dating app. But I deleted the dating app very shortly after meeting you, but we officially met at your friend's house during an exchange, which was fun.
Yeah. So we first met on this dating app and we were talking, and do you remember? Well, I think you deleted the app at this point. Or you claim to have deleted the app. I did
delete the apps because I had, when you kiss so many frogs, you decide, I'm just going to meet someone the old-fashioned way.
And I asked you, I said, you want to go get a cheeseburger?
And I just deleted the app. And you
didn't respond to me, and I was like, okay, that didn't work. And then
we met
a couple weeks later.
It was supposed to happen.
It was like a couple months later, actually. But we were at an exchange between her sorority and my fraternity in college, and it was like it's a party, and
we saw each other.
We saw each other. I recognized you, but I didn't know for sure that was the girl who I asked for a cheeseburger and never responded. But then we just hit it off.
We did.
And the rest is history.
I know. I asked him to be my date to barn dance.
Will you be my GF?
Will you be my... And then I had to ask... Before we even went to barn dance together, my semi-formal was like almost immediately after.
So like we met and like conversed for maybe like 2 days, and then you were like, do you want to go to barn dance? I was like, sure, why not?
No, you ghosted me for a week.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Piece of shit.
Like, listen, I used to be a piece of shit. Not anymore, though. People can change. Okay, you're up.
Okay, this one is like more not about our relationship. If money were no object, where would you live together? Where would we live together?
If money was no object, I would say if really money wasn't an object and... Oh, you're supposed to guess for me.
No, you're supposed to guess where I want to go.
Oh, where you would want to go? Okay, I was going to say where I would want to go. I think you would want to go to like a farm almost, like a secluded area, like our own little like compound.
Somewhere where the dog can just run free.
Right. Am I in the
Absolutely
in the
not.
Oh, great.
Drink up.
Okay. So give me your answer.
I would want to live like somewhere warm, and I would probably want to live more like I would want to live more urban. I actually, even though I don't like neighbors, I think I like what a city has to offer, as in food and like activities and stuff. I mean,
okay.
And I want to be somewhere where it's not cold ever.
Oh yeah.
We've had this conversation.
Right.
Do you even know me?
I actually gave the answer of something that I
know. That's what he wants. He wants no neighbors ever.
Yeah. All right, let's get down into this. We'll come back to some questions a little bit later. So let's start
off with the obvious character, who is the big old character.
Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher's character, who starts off with the weirdest proposal to Jessica Alba ever. They're literally sleeping.
Oh, she's flawless, Brie. She's flawless. She wakes up flawless. She wakes up beautiful, full, like, she's got to have makeup on.
Well, yeah, that's what we in the business call a natural look. Because boys think that we're not wearing makeup when we are actually wearing a ton of makeup. We just have makeup on in which it looks like we are not wearing makeup.
Yeah, that was my first notice of Jessica Alba. I'm like, I don't think people look like that when they wake up.
They don't. You didn't see me in the morning. So the proposal's weird. And I said audibly, holy shit. that diamond is freaking huge.
It must make a lot of money in the floral business.
I'm like, dang, it'll make my ring look like a little freaking peanut.
Yeah, a little peanut.
And blah, blah, blah. He's like so excited. She puts on the ring. It's like he asks her to marry him and she didn't answer. He just put the ring on her finger.
You know what happens when you assume, Brie?
You make an ass.
Out of you and me. And that's what Ashton Kutcher does because he assumes that she says yes to the engagement.
Yeah,
well, she takes the ring, first of all. She takes the ring.
She did take the ring. But she didn't actually say yes. And he leaves the house all giddy and happy because he's like, she said yes. And he goes to his business associate, George Lopez.
I think it's his employee, right?
Yeah. And they go to like this flower depot kind of thing where they're buying like the flowers for the florist shop. And you got like this character, Mr. Pham. He's gonna get interviewed
by Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx. So okay, side character.
Jamie Foxx. A big name to have as a side character, I would say.
Yeah, he's coming off an Oscar, right? Like Oscar for Ray.
And like he is the second most popular sports guy at their news channel, so he's like forced to do like this Valentine's Day segment by his boss Kathy Bates.
Again, Kathy Bates in the movie for 2 scenes.
And he's like, I don't like Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day gives me acid reflux.
It gives me acid reflux. I cut off my love life until St. Patrick's Day because I want to avoid Valentine's Day. I'm like, dude,
just buy her some flowers and take her out to dinner.
Honestly, I need to make a comment because I wrote this down in the very little notes I took about this movie. And I said, why does every character in these Garry Marshall movies seem like they all have to be big and, charismatic and so unique? Because Jamie Foxx is like, I hate Valentine's Day. And I'm a reporter. Anne Hathaway drives a moped. Like, it's these little decisions in the movie where it's like every character has to have some kind of defining quality and trait. They can't just be like a normal guy,
I guess. So Mr. Pham is gonna go give this interview, but he like cannot speak. So Ashton Kutcher kind of takes over, and he gets everyone to be like, oh, this is my flower shop. This is where it is. And like Jessica Alba, then it cuts to the flower shop and Jessica Alba comes in and she's not wearing a ring. He's like, what's going on? And she's like, well, I don't want people to ask questions about it. And I immediately in that moment, I'm like, she does not want to get married.
She's just not that into you.
And like when you gave me my ring, that thing stayed on all day. And everybody who I passed by, I was just like, dun, 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 dun. Like, you want to show it off. If I had a ring that big, holy crap, I'd never take it off. I'd be like, look at this thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's freaking huge. Mm-hmm. And I think after that scene, really, like, the little kid comes in with the money. He wants to buy the flowers.
It's so tough to talk about this movie because we're introducing characters in the explanation for Ashton Kutcher's character.
And we'll get to the characters.
It's like, how do we weave these guys together?
So he wants flowers to give to his Valentine. He only has like $15 and a dozen roses is $55.
A dozen roses, please.
And
oh, hey, Johnny, I didn't know it was you.
He like gives it to the kid for that much. And I thought, like, this is a total winner. He's good with kids. He's like very like nice and all this stuff. And I'm like, Jessica Alba, you idiot.
She still got her Fantastic Four hair in this movie. Like, she looks like Sue Storm.
I feel for Ashton Kutcher's character in this. And so later, like, he gets home to like put his gift for her like down, and it's like a secret, and she's moving out. Grabs all her stuff. And he's kind of like sad. He's upset. He's like, it's okay. We don't have to get married right away. And she's like, but you deserve someone who will say yes. She's like, I have no reason not to say yes. She's like, except that I'm not feeling it. And like, you deserve someone who is like 100% yes.
And here's the thing about this movie that's interesting to me by the end is that many of our characters have a happy ending. I think many of our main characters have a happy ending, but there are a lot of these characters that walk away out of Valentine's Day with bad endings. And they don't like it's these characters that don't get what they want.
But the ones that do have bad endings deserved it.
Like, did Jessica Alba deserve her ending? Because like her ending is just that she like takes the dog and leaves, and she comes back later in the movie. But
she took the dog. Was the dog his dog, or was the dog her dog, or was it their dog?
I have to assume that the dog was her dog, or the dog was their dog, but leaned heavily towards her because the dog sided with her. When Ashton Kutcher's like, all right, dog, come here. The dog did not come here. And the dog stayed, which we had a conversation about, like, okay, if we break up, ever, hypothetically, if we break up.
The dog would go with me.
I don't think so.
He loves me more.
I think he loves us equally.
No, I think he loves me more. He listened to me when I told him to go lay down.
Yeah, we had to stop recording for like a second there because he was just being an asshole the entire time. And I took him out and brought him in and not yelled, but come on, lay down. And once Brie told him to lay down, he actually did it.
Okay, so he's coming with me. Oh. So then we get like Patrick Dempsey and Jennifer Gardner, their love story. Jennifer Gardner.
You were getting riled up watching this.
Okay, because
you were getting riled up
because I've seen the movie before, and I'm like, Anthony, I just know he has a wife. He has a wife, and he's doing this to her, and he has a wife, and I get really upset. I think cheaters are the worst, especially when there are kids involved, which he did have children. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, how can you do that to the person who like gave you children? I can understand going through divorce if you don't have feelings for your wife anymore, but like cheating on your wife and then getting into bed with your wife, and then you don't know if you're giving your wife an STD or an STI.
Whoa.
That happens, though. That's how a lot of women find out.
That they have STDs?
No, that their partner is cheating.
Oh.
They all of a sudden they have a rash down there or a tingle down there, and it's because their partner is having unprotected sex with another person. Yeah, that's
such like an obvious way to know if somebody is cheating on you, right? Or if...
And they usually become distant.
Well, first it's emotional. I have to imagine that first it's now we're becoming distant from each other, and it's...
But there can be people who it's only a physical affair and not an emotional affair. But I think...
So you're asking me what I think is worse?
Is it worse if it was a physical affair or if it's an emotional affair?
I think an emotional affair, honestly. Both are horrible.
I mean, yes, both are deplorable. You're a shit
but
person.
And maybe that's because, you know, I am much more of a person that it's like I have to have an emotional connection to somebody. And that's my way of loving, right? Like quality time is my love language. And it's like I have to have a connection to somebody. So if somebody were to hurt me on that level, or if it's like... somebody, and this has happened to me before, somebody falls out of love with me, like that hurts. That's what hurts me more than anything else. And Brie is like playing footsie with me under the table as I'm talking about this, is an indication that, oh no, this is never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen between the two of us. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, like
I know,
that's what I think is worse.
And he's having an emotional and physical affair with Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah, because it seems like with Jennifer Gardner, he
loves her.
Yeah.
And
like it seems like Jennifer Garner believes that they're dating.
Yes,
right?
and that this might be the one. So their whole story is he's like, I'm going to be at this hospital in San Francisco. I'm going to be doing open heart surgery. I can't spend Valentine's Day with you. And she's like, oh, I'm so sad. And Jennifer Garner's character is friends with Ashton Kutcher's character. Ashton Kutcher says, go to him, fly there. If you want to be with him, be with him. And then Patrick Dempsey's character sees the advertisement for the flower shop on the TV. He goes to Ashton Kutcher's flower shop. Ashton Kutcher catches him. He sends
like, you're ordering flowers for two people?
He's like, you're ordering flowers for this person, Jennifer Garner's character.
And then he's asking really personal questions.
But it's because I don't think he would have put as much thought into the cheating part, like this is your wife, this is your girlfriend, if he didn't see his friend's name there and her address. And
which brought up a conversation that we had during the movie, which was, would you do that as a business owner if you were selling flowers, for example, like Ashton Kutcher is doing? Would you 100%. Morally be okay with selling flowers to somebody who's sending them to two different women?
So I would definitely be like, so this one is for your wife and this one's for your girlfriend, correct? Switch them.
You are okay.
Switch them.
That is
it was an accident.
Not best practice when it comes to a business, I would say. And maybe it's because we've grown up in a world where it's like you have to put business first before morals.
I'd be like, oopsie, I mixed them up. My bad.
Yeah, could you get sued for that?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, damn.
And I also talked about, I would put a note on the girlfriends. He has a wife.
My wife.
And I would not feel bad about that in the slightest because I have been in Jennifer Garner's shoes.
Okay.
I've been that person who had no idea.
Mm-hmm. So this is personal for you.
It freaking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, especially when you find out about it and then you feel like garbage because you would never do that to another woman. And he made you be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And like some women are fine. Some women like know that he has a wife and they just don't care. But they're
well, yeah,
people
because
who like
it's like that philosophy of I'm not the one cheating, right? Like he's the one cheating. So like why should I feel bad about it?
But it's when they don't tell you that you're the other woman and then they put you in that awkward position. Like respect me enough to give me a choice and let me say no.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't let me find out about it and then know that our relationship's not going anywhere. Luckily, I met you after that happened. And now you would never do anything like that to me ever. But Patrick Dempsey's character sucks in this movie. So bad.
I feel like he plays that same character.
He plays a doctor.
Like a lot of, well, not a doctor, but like a douche. You know what I mean?
He's got that face, douche face.
Yeah. So like he's in Scream 3 and he's not a douche in Scream 3. He's like one of the heroic characters, but I feel like he just plays the same guy, you know? Oh, you want more?
Yes, please.
Oh, is this an opportunity for us to ask questions?
Sure.
You still got a little bit more in there that you can go into. So why don't we take a slight break and go through some questions.
While we're pulling that up, I'm gonna just continue on with her little part. She goes, buys a plane ticket. She doesn't believe Ashton Kutcher when he's like he has a wife.
He runs to the plane station, runs to the airport, the plane station
to get her to. And she's like, oh well, he's told me he has ex-wife. They're divorced. He's like, no, like they're still married. She flies all the way out, gets to the hospital, asks the nurse, like, is he here today? They say no, and she's like, okay. She's putting it together like he lied, and she's like, can you just tell me something? Does he have a wife? Not divorced, not separated, a wife, and is her name this? And the nurse is like, yeah, they just celebrated their 15th.
Well, the nurse tells
the other nurse tells Jennifer Garner where they're going to be eating for Valentine's Day. Jennifer Garner shows up and pretends to be the waitress and does this whole thing about like chopping off balls.
Yeah.
And puts the wind up heart on the table, and it kind of like clicks in the wife's mind what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks out with like hundreds of dollars worth of lobster.
Yeah, because she's we then find out that the waiter or the maitre d'
owner of the restaurant.
Oh, the owner
of the restaurant.
It was the owner.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the maitre d'. But his kid is in her class. She's a preschool teacher.
No, she's a 5th grade teacher.
Oh shoot!
Whoa. She teaches 5th grade.
Yeah, his kid is in her class. So what I find, before we get into the questions, I got to mention this because what I find endearing about movies like this, especially like the Valentine's Day, the New Year's Eve, these Garry Marshall ensemble movies, is, and I mentioned this to you through our watching of it, it's like, not only are all of our main cast connected to one another in different ways, shapes, and forms, the background characters, like these nameless, faceless background characters,
they are
connected to everybody as well. So like the maitre d' at the restaurant is connected to Jennifer Gardner. You've got one of the little kids in her class, Franklin, is like connected to them as well. You've got later on in the movie, Topher, Grace, and Anne Hathaway are in a restaurant, and we're introduced to this very nameless and faceless background character with curly hair, and he shows up at another main character's party later on, and it's like, oh, we know this guy. Like, even the background characters are very intricately wound into the storyline, and it's so, like, to me, it's very incredible, like, how you can weave this web. Yeah. And it's got to take a tremendous amount of work, even though these movies seem like this web that I've created, which looks like a hot garbage. It looks very confusing, but somebody had to sit down and actually say, well, this character's connected to this character, and wouldn't it be fun if this background character was also connected to that character over there and showed up in this scene? I know, like, we look at these movies like Valentine's Day and we say, oh my god, this is another one of those fucking ensemble movies where it's going to make a lot of money, it's got a big star power cast, and it just means nothing. And when I watched this movie with you again, and I was thinking about it a little more deeply, I'm like, no, this is a very, I keep using the word intricate, but it's a very, like, tightly wound web of characters that somebody had to sit down and say, this is what this is. And it's almost like writing a mystery movie where you're trying to solve and you get twists and turns along the way. Like, that to me is very difficult to write, because you have to know your beats and you have to know your characters very, very tightly. And this, I think, is the same thing, where a lot of this is really smart. And even though the writing not awesome, but you got to give props to
how much work
goes into this, because like I would never be able to do it.
Yeah,
I would never be able to do this. Okay. So anyway, let's get to our game. Let's take a little pause from our story and our movie discussion and go to the game. Do you want to go first?
Sure. What is my ideal vacation?
Your ideal vacation is... So I have two answers that I can go through. Can I do both of them?
Sure.
And if one of them's right, then I'm right. Yeah. So you've mentioned to me that you want to go search for Mothman. Am I correct? Is that your ideal vacation?
I mean, that's one of my ideal vacations.
You said, let's go to West Virginia and search for
hunt.
And cryptozoology this bitch. So I said, no. I said,
he has like something against going out and trying to find Mothman.
But Mothman's been spotted in so many different places. It's like you can't just hunt for Mothman. You go to the original
Mothman place.
West Virginia.
Yes.
I don't know where in West Virginia.
I already found the Airbnb we'd stay at. I already found all the attractions we could go into the town. Mm-hmm. It's ready when you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Was I correct?
That's one of mine.
Oh, let's think of the second one. The second one could be, I don't know, Italy?
I mean, I do really want to go to Italy sometime before I die. Just because I got family there.
Mm-hmm.
Mi familia.
Salud, mi familia. That was just Spanish, right? Salud?
No, that's
Italian? Okay, I was thinking of Fast and the Furious when Dom Toretto says that, and I always thought that he was speaking Spanish.
This man is from an Italian family.
Me? Or
yeah,
Dom?
You.
Yeah, I am. I don't know Italian.
I swear to goodness, your grandparents have said that word when we've been drinking.
Salud?
Yeah.
I doubt it. But go on. What was...
Or maybe your stepfather.
Yeah, probably him.
That's the question. Yeah, I would love to go there. You know what's a place that has always been like on my list?
What?
Toledo, Spain.
Spain.
Oh, because it's the sword capital of the world.
The sword capital?
Yes.
So you see a lot of swords?
Yeah, you would go get a sword.
Oh,
I learned
cool.
that in high school, and I've been obsessed with it ever since.
Nice. That'd be cool.
One track mind.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what's your question for me?
All right, let's see. I'm at the top of the list. You're not going to know that. Well, maybe you would know this, but this is a dumb question. I'm going to try to find one a little bit more interesting. Okay, this is going to be a twofold question.
Okay.
Who's the tidiest?
You.
Who's the funniest?
Me.
I would agree.
I'm a freaking pig in my pen.
Can we do a secondary question on that? What is one thing that, and I'll answer this one for you too. What's one thing that I've picked up from you? Like since we've known each other, like in terms of like our vocabulary or the things that we say.
I think we say a lot of the same words. I think like you've picked up some of the words that like I commonly say. Like a lot.
Murgled. I say that all the time on the podcast now.
You say murgled all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who just says murgled all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know when I started saying murgled because I definitely didn't take it from anybody else. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, sometimes my brain does this thing where it just thinks of something funny.
You used to say like that. When we started dating, you used to say this thing like, you're a turd bird. You used to say you turd bird or something like that.
Like you're a turd bird.
So like I picked that up, and we haven't said that in a long time, but I think we've grown past that.
Let's bring turd bird back. Yeah, turd bird 2022.
Turd bird 2022. Okay, what about you? What have you picked up from me?
What have I picked up from you?
If anything.
I've picked up stuff. I picked up some of your lingo too. Nothing's coming to mind as of late, but and you know what? I hate to say it. I'm really picky, and I think I picked that up from you. I won't eat
Being picky about food?
Yeah, I'm like a picky eater now. I was never a picky eater.
I don't think I'm a picky eater.
Yes, you are. You only eat hamburgers.
I went through my whole college career and I ate like a cheeseburger a day.
He only eats American food.
Yeah, dude. I honestly whenever we try to go for like food or go out or something, Brie's always like
Mexican food.
I'm not a big fan.
Indian food.
I'm not a big fan.
Something different. And Anthony's like, I would like a cheeseburger.
I'm a good old fashioned American boy.
Or a chicken wing.
I would love a chicken wing. I would love a cheeseburger. I would love what did I eat today for dinner?
You had 2 cheeseburgers.
I did. Yes, I did. And you had kimchi and salmon.
I had a salmon bowl with rice, with some soy sauce, some Kewpie mayo, and sriracha. And salmon I made 2 days ago, which had chili oil on it that my mom picked up. That's for ramen bowls, but I've just put it on my salmon, and it tasted delicious and spicy. And then I had a side of kimchi with it because I can only have things that I like if Anthony's not eating them.
Right.
I wish we could go to like restaurants I like. You know, I got him to go to Casa Margarita a couple of times. I'm still trying to get him to go back. I gotta be honest, I don't think he's gonna come back with me.
Oh, I accidentally filled yours. I'm refilling our drinks, and I filled Brie's a little bit too high, so I gotta make mine a little bit.
Yours is blonder than mine. I feel like
No, that's yours right there. This one's mine.
I know it's blonder than mine.
It's blonder?
Yeah, mine needs more.
Oh, jeez, Brie.
You know it.
Oh, jeez.
So. Oh my goodness.
Oh, great heavens!
Oh, great heavens!
We got probably enough OJ for one, and then it's just strictly champagne.
Cheers.
Which is fine.
I think it's just like we've picked up. Sometimes we even like we'll say the exact same thing at the exact same time.
Sometimes we read each other's minds.
It's like brains are connected.
Like sometimes I'll look at you and we'll be like, shut up. Just shut up right now.
What was it the other day where we both said something just
we do that all the time obscure. Though. I can't even remember.
We said like a joke at the same time.
Oh. we were talking about how Disney lost the rights to.
Oh yes.
we were sitting in the Buffalo Wild Wings, and we were talking about how Disney just lost the rights to the character Scrat from Ice Age. And I said, we're about to be introduced to Scrat's long lost brother.
And at the exact same time, we said Scroat.
We looked at each other, and I was like, we were like dying laughing in the Buffalo Wild Wings as we both acknowledged that at the very exact moment we thought of the same joke.
And I think that's when you know like you've been with someone. And this movie talks about
good segue.
Like Jennifer Gardner, I'm spoiling it if you haven't seen it.
Give a shit.
Jennifer Gardner, Ashton Kutcher's characters are best friends. And Joe from Princess Diaries and his wife,
Grandma, Grandpa.
The grandma and grandpa, like they talk about he's like I married my best friend. Like this is my best friend.
Well, no, George Lopez says that too.
Oh, yeah, and George Lopez says, like, I married my best friend, that's why our marriage works. And it's kind of like Jennifer Gardner's character kind of like got it. And then...
But I don't know, I didn't buy their relationship at the end of this, though, because they do get together at the end, spoiler alert. But I didn't buy it because... They kissed and they were immediately like, oh, that was awkward.
But then they started kissing more.
And then they're like, we got to practice. But I don't know, that first kiss, if it's just not there, then I don't know, that's a bad sign. That's a red flag to me, man.
I mean, going from being really close friends for a while, we were lucky because like when we got together, we were kind of like friendly and we didn't officially start dating until a couple of weeks.
We got to know each other.
Yeah, we got to know each other. Then once we started dating, like getting to know each other, like went into hyperdrive. Because now we really need to get to know each other.
We got close really fast.
Like we spent, and I think that's like the perk of us having met in college, especially as like sophomores in college.
Mm-hmm.
Our
dorms were like, I mean, we had to go to separate buildings, but we were close by, like within walking distance.
I'm going to shatter the illusion for the parents listening in. We had sleepovers all the time.
Yeah.
Like we he was constantly sleeping.
We would share the twin bed.
Share the
twin mattress.
Share the twin bed at my dorm or sleep on the futon at yours.
Mm-hmm.
And we immediately, we just like got along. And I'm like, and it's still that way. You're my friend first.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of all, like we have like a really good friendship.
Well, and like so there's sometimes where we think about other people we know
and their relationships,
and I'm like, do they joke around like the same way that we joke around?
And like, what do you
talk about? What is your relationship like? Because can't be like ours, and because I feel like we just flow so well off of one another.
Like I can take my parents for example. They were not friends when they got married. They're still really not friends. They like completely different things. They don't share any interests really, except right now they're both watching Yellowstone and they're really into that.
My parents also both watching Yellowstone, really into it.
and parents in Yellowstone, thick as thieves.
And I hope my mom is listening to this right now because she digs Yellowstone. She's like, we're watching Yellowstone, but I hate that we have to go on separate streaming services for the prequel series.
And I laugh. My mom's watching it off somebody else's, like the Plex, it's called.
Oh, so illegal.
Yeah, illegal.
Hear that? Whoop, whoop. They're listening.
I'm not, and I'm not going to tell you who my parents are.
No, I will tell a story. Not to devolve even further from what our original podcast is supposed to be about, but I tried finding a website to watch Peacemaker, and we got about 5 minutes into the first episode and it kept like buffering, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy HBO Max for a month. And like, it's just easier to get the streaming service for the thing that you want to watch, at least for like a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
Rather than jailbreaking like your Fire Stick or something, which
my brother, of course.
Yeah,
probably.
I can't.
I'm too worried.
I've Googled how to do it.
I got too much Catholic guilt for that.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I've Googled it, but I don't want to like fuck it up so hard that like I open up our IP address or something for like people to, you know, do malicious things.
I know. So
I'm just like, I'm not doing it.
So we've talked about like, we don't. I have my sister and her boyfriend. I'm like, I don't know what they talk about. She's a teacher. He takes photographs.
Photographer.
He takes photographs. They have 2 dogs. What do they talk about? I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, because our jokes are just so inside funny. Like, we're 2 clowns. And we both are teachers.
Clown shoes.
That helps, I think. We have so much in common.
Sometimes like we talk so much about our jobs that I'm like, let's talk about something else. But we never have problems talking about something else too.
So I believe
that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast too with you, is because I'm like, well, we have these conversations when we just watch movies. So let's write them down. Like, let's record them. Let's put it on something. And I don't know. I think it's just a nice thing to do with you. And that's why I wanted to start it, was to just have something for us to do together that's like hobby-wise. And if we end up making money off of it in the future, like, that would be great too.
I like money. La la la.
I like money.
So it's really, I think like the whole thing is, you know, you have to marry your best friend. Don't push your best friend to the side. Like, the person you're meant to be with is right there. This kind of thing. I would say, because I mean, I'm a relationship guy. I think the best relationships are friendships.
I went from one long-term relationship to another with you. And I think you just have to find somebody that you seriously connect with and that you enjoy being with. And that's why I think that the emotional and like spiritual connection that you might have with somebody is more important than the physical connection, right? Like, physical connection's great, but but it's not the end all be all. The end all be all is, do you enjoy this person, and can you see yourself being with them every day?
And I think my main thing is, when I had been sick, how you respond to me sick. How do you respond to me in pain? How do you respond to me when I need your help? And I just remember he had wanted to go with his friends out on New Year's, but I had gotten my wisdom teeth out, so he stayed home with me. And we
had a boring ass New Year's, I'll tell you what.
I told him,
he fell asleep before midnight.
I told him, I'm like, you can go out with your friends. He's like, no, like, I'm gonna stay here and take care of you. And when my mom dropped me off at the at our apartment. She said if I start going to the anaphylactic shock.
She's like the doctor said she might be allergic to this medicine, so just watch her. And if she goes into anaphylactic shock, like, just call an ambulance. And I was like, okay.
I have some allergies to certain medicines, and they prescribed me one that I was allergic to, so the pharmacist didn't want to give it to me. I ended up not using that one. I only had the hardcore aspirin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the
one that was supposed to be the big
oxycodone.
Yeah.
It was like, it didn't do anything. Everyone's like, "Ooh, this one the best."
Yeah, this one's gonna put you in the butt.
It didn't do anything, and apparently there's like a percentage of the population where it does not do anything, and I just happen to be one of those people.
Yeah.
My mouth still hurt. My mouth hurt less when I took the hardcore aspirin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's very sad. Letdown. It was a letdown of the century, I have to say.
Yeah, so we still got like a thing of oxycodone sitting in the house that neither of us have touched.
Then we can go to our next group of characters.
Yes, back to the movie.
Topher Grace and Anne Hathaway. Weird couple, because Anne Hathaway is so extremely good looking, and Topher Grace looks like
it's Eddie Brock.
Looks like
you're trash, Brock.
He's ugly. I'm gonna lay it down. Ugly.
I was waiting for Anne Hathaway to fart at him.
See ya, chump.
See ya, chump. If you have not seen that video on YouTube, it's the little edit of Spider-Man 3 where black suit Spider-Man looks at Eddie Brock and goes, "See ya, chump," farts at him, and then flies into the sewer.
So Anne Hathaway and like Topher Grace, they're seeing each other only 2 weeks, brand new relationship. Anne's like getting out of there in a hurry. She's like, "Is that the time? I gotta go." Zoom zoom zap zoozy. And
she gets on her moped.
And this guy dunks.
Oh yeah, it's like a basketball hoop in his apartment.
Into a basketball hoop that is obviously like his height, and he just like dunks it. And I thought to myself, how old is this man?
This is a 31-year-old man, I'm assuming,
that he has a basketball hoop in his house.
Mm-hmm.
That's lame.
I agree.
That's lame.
I agree. And I'm a guy who literally has Yu-Gi-Oh posters framed in this room right now.
I gotta say. Turns out she's a phone sex operator. And she also moonlights as like a receptionist for an agent.
An agency, yeah.
And
Queen
Latifah is the agent.
Mm-hmm. A small role, yet a memorable one.
Topher Grace works at
he's in the mail
place,
room.
and he's the mail guy, which I would say is a worse job than the receptionist.
Totally a worse job than a receptionist.
But she's like totally into him because he's boring. She said, "I like normal. I like simple." At the end, when they got back together,
I'm from Muncie, Indiana,
and because he so they have a great relationship. He finds out that she's a phone sex operator. He like can't handle it. He can't handle it. He says some very hurtful things to her, and he's like,
"I'll call you tomorrow, but I don't know if I'd be able to afford it."
And like she's like so rude. Like okay, she hasn't told you because you've only been dating 2 weeks. Then she tells you that she's a sex worker, and you immediately think that it's disgusting, deplorable. You don't want anything to do with it. But then he goes to
gotta pay the bills.
Right? She's like, "I have like $100,000 worth of student loans. I'm broke. I'm working 2 jobs. This one pays a lot. I'm just trying to make my rent." And
you gotta pay the bills and have your side hustle any way that you can possibly do it.
Especially in LA, it's expensive to live and work in LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I'm not gonna get into it, but I think like you would agree with me that a woman, let's say like for example, OnlyFans, like I think that's like a respectable thing.
I think all sex work is work.
No,
do what you gotta do to survive.
It's to make money.
It's to make money.
It's to make money. And if you can make money, you know, doing something like using
your body,
it, like if people will pay for it and it's legal,
right? Sex work is work. Like, at the end of the day, like, you don't have to like it, but you don't have to engage in it. Like, you don't have to buy the content, you don't have to participate in the content, but respect people who do that work.
And I have to assume for, like, especially OnlyFans, like, it's got to be like, I don't know, I'm generalizing and I'm throwing out a number off the top of my head. I'm going to say like 95% of people that are on OnlyFans and doing all of this stuff, like, it's business.
It is
business.
Business
Is business. This is just work.
That is some of their side hustles.
This is just work. None of this is play. None of this is like for fun.
It's to make money.
This is to make money.
Like, there are people who do it in combination with stripping, in combination with other work that they do. You know, this is a job. We're making money.
I think we definitely like see that line of work or that line of side hustle, I guess, in such a like preposterous light. Like, we assume all of a sudden that all women who work as strippers or all women who work as like in OnlyFans or like adult entertainment, like, they do it because like they love it, and they do it because like they're sexual deviants or something. And it's like, no,
some like it,
maybe,
like,
but
they like it, but it's also because they can make money that way.
It's money. That's all it is. This is a job.
You like to dance. I'm a good dancer. I like to dance. I'm gonna make money dancing.
And they take advantage of people that will pay for it. And great,
I'm like,
do what you got to do.
If you can make a respectable living, and I'll come back to, I'm very fortunate that a lot of I have some mutuals on TikTok. That means I follow them, they follow me back, that work in the adult entertainment industry like that. And I get to like hear their stories, you know, and like see who they are as people. Because, you know, they are like, I work at the club. I have 2 children that I take care of. I'm divorced. I have split custody of my children. I also work at the club, but I have a babysitter that watches the kids overnight so that when I come home, I can be with my kids all day. And it's like, it's an ideal job for me because I can spend all day with my kids when they're here. It's like I'm just gone at night when they're sleeping. And I
have a question for you.
Yes.
What would you be upset if you were dating somebody and you found out that, not that they were like a phone sex operator, but maybe they worked in pornography?
I mean, obviously, like
as an actor.
What, like, my personal like comfortability with it, especially with like being in pornography, is like the actual like act of having intercourse. There's a chance to pass diseases. Sure. So I don't know if I'd be personally comfortable with that.
Well, I think the caveat might be, well, you got to get tested.
Yeah.
And we got to see.
And like, if we are going to be intimate, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that because I don't want my sexual health to be at risk. And I think I'm like, if I'm in love with someone, like, of course I want to be with them. But you also have to think about like your health and your safety. Like, you can do everything possible. You could wear all the protection in the world and things still happen.
Sure.
That industry is a lot more like looked at now and regulated now
than it was in like the 70s, like in the Boogie Nights era, which we should watch Boogie Nights. That's a great movie.
Because we know that there are these
Anderson.
We know that there are these transmittable diseases now, and we're more aware of it. But it's like, do you really want to be in a relationship with someone who every time you want to be intimate with them, they have to get tested, and that takes time to get the test back, and like, so you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you get intimate once, and then they have to go work again, and then that whole thing. I think it really puts a damper on your intimacy.
Sure.
Not that you don't love that person. I mean, I haven't been in that situation, so I don't know how I would react, but that's a really good question.
Yeah. Anyway, Anne Hathaway, Topher Grace.
He just can't handle it.
I think they're like, so I don't think that this, and if we're getting back into the movie itself and like talking about what these ensemble movies are and like why they're so interesting. I don't want to say good, but I want to say interesting and admirable. They're admirable to create. Because all of these characters' stories are like little movies that we're getting. Like everyone I feel like can have their own movie. Like everything that we're seeing 15 different romance comedies at play here. They're just all going to connect to one another. Ashton Kutcher and Jennifer Gardner's stories can be one movie. Topher Grace and Anne Hathaway story, if you really expand it out, can be one movie. The old couple can be one movie, right? Like everything that we're seeing has it's like the writer was just like, I have a bunch of different ideas for like a bunch of different romantic comedies and I'm just going to put them all together. And I think that's kind of cool thing to do, but it doesn't feel like I don't think the Topher and Anne Hathaway story really meshes well here.
I just think like he was a jerk, and if I was Anne Hathaway, I don't know if I'd take him back.
Mm-hmm.
She does. He makes this like apology card, and his excuse is, I was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana. I don't understand all this stuff.
Isn't that in Parks and Recreation where like Jerry elects to spend his retirement? He's like, I always loved Muncie, Indiana.
And I'm just like, okay, like I can get it, but he like said disrespectful stuff about you.
Mm-hmm.
She takes him back. That's their ending.
Yep. And again, like some of these endings are very abrupt. I think we got to talk about the weaving of Julia Roberts, Bradley Cooper.
So Julia Roberts is one of my favorite happy endings because we get introduced to Julia Roberts and Bradley Cooper. They're sitting next to each other on the airplane. They're there for almost the entire movie. And they're just like having this really nice like back and forth.
And you think like Bradley Cooper is like gonna put the like, oh, he's falling in love with her. He's Valentine's Day. He's falling in love with her. But
he thinks she's going home to see some guy. She's going to go home to see her little guy, her son, because she's in the army, active duty. And the little kid is also the kid who buys the flowers at Ashton Kutcher's shop, who's in Jennifer Gardner's class.
Connected, yeah.
And Bradley Cooper, like she's analyzing him, like, yo, you don't like heart-shaped stuff. You don't like this. You don't like that. And like assuming there's something wrong with Valentine's Day. And so that's going to take us into some other characters before we finish up Bradley Cooper's arc, because I think it's important to introduce some of the other characters.
Yes, we have talked about Queen Latifah's character.
We briefly have the old couple.
Oh God, yeah.
Their purpose is like they're like the picture perfect old in love couple. We waited for each other for marriage, and we've only been with each other. Like that's the whole thing. And then the wife explains that one night when he was away, she was unfaithful like 40 years ago.
Unforgivable.
And
unforgivable, because you asked me about this. So the way that the old people stories,
he loves her though.
He loves her, and she's like very remorseful about it. She does this big grand gesture later on.
She's like, I'm sorry, and you're gonna forgive me because I love you.
Yeah, and this guy's very quick to forgive her after this grand gesture that she does towards the end of the movie.
They're too old to not forgive each other.
He's very quick to forgive her.
They've spent so much time together.
I told Brie when we were watching this, I'm like, I don't know if I'd be so quick, because she's like, but it's been 40 years. It's been 40 years, and they love each other. I said, but the relationship for 40 years has been built upon a lie. And that is tough.
Maybe that's what makes me better than you, because I would forgive you.
I don't know if I'd be too quick to forgive.
I would definitely chop off your keeper, but I would forgive you.
I think that this movie, I think Valentine's Day is... This movie has it all.
It has cheating, lying, dirty hoes.
This movie has it all. It's got... every cheesy, like, sappy, like poor, I don't want to say poorly written. I don't want to poop on movies, but I want to say like the tropes, right? Like we got every tropes. We got stuff for everybody.
We got Taylor Lautner and Taylor Swift just being that stupid like high school couple that's in love. They wear everything the same and they look the same. Yeah. Like that's their whole thing. Is like they're the trope of just like the two high school kids that are in love.
We got everything that can be like cute, right? Like we got the cute old couple. We got the cute kid. We got the cute young couple. We got the cute Jamie Foxx. Like
we got the cute Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, we've got something for everybody in this movie.
And we do actually have something for everybody as we get the other guy from Grey's Anatomy.
Eric Dane.
Who's
also in Marley and Me, which I thought about during...
I cannot watch that.
So, okay.
That's a no-no for yes. That's a no-no review.
Brie and I earlier
today
today discussed, I asked her, I'm like, if there's one movie that you would never want to review that's like an automatic no on the podcast, what would it be? And you said...
Drive.
I fucking hate you, but because I love Drive.
Now that I would like to redo my answer. It would be Marley and Me. I will never watch that movie again.
I said the Snyder Cut.
I will never watch Marley and Me again.
I also think Marley and Me is off the table.
I would never watch that movie again.
We can't do it.
Anthony, I watched that movie once with my friend Brittany. For 2 hours after that, I was inconsolable. She had to go get my mom.
Brie, it's one of the toughest movies to get through.
I was crying hysterically.
Especially because now we have a dog
to the point where my friend at the time had to go get my mother because she said she won't stop crying. She's been crying for an hour. I don't know what to do.
You always cry at movies.
I get upset, especially when it's about dogs I love.
I think I've maybe cried at like maybe 3 movies.
What a
total.
wiener.
And Marley and Me is one of them.
I will never watch it again.
Yeah, can't do it. That's off the table for anybody listening to this.
Never.
It's never going to happen.
Well, he plays a football guy.
Yeah.
He's 35 years old. They're like,
Did you know I once convinced... Sorry.
Get out of here.
I once convinced one of my friends in 8th grade that they were going to make a sequel to Marley and Me called Marley Comes Back Home, where like Marley would come
zombie
back.
Dog, like
zombie
Paranorman?
Dog. Yeah.
Or no.
Frank and Weenie. Paranorman, fantastic movie, BTW.
So he is a football guy. He's 35 years old. Like his team is not going to renew his contract as their quarterback. And they're like, he's too old to like do anything. He comes out of the closet. He's like, you know what? I'm gay. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to play football.
He does say that.
He's like, I'm not going to retire. And then we get Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper walks in. He's like, hello, my love.
Yeah. I think they're implying that the reason that Bradley Cooper probably doesn't like Valentine's Day is because his boyfriend's not out.
Yeah.
And so they can't be lovey-dovey in public. They can't really be seen together in public. Their relationship's probably been a secret for a long time because in sports and professional sports, there's very little people who are out in professional sports. So as soon as he came out, it was kind of like, I can enjoy this holiday with you because now we can be out in public together and we can be a couple. So it was a nice ending for Bradley Cooper's character.
It was a nice ending for both of those characters, but I do think I was a little frustrated with that scene.
Because he wanted a gay kiss.
I wanted them to kiss. I said, this is 2010. You guys are cowards. Like, you people making the movie, cowards. Have them kiss. Set the standard. Like, this is 2010, guys. Let's push it forward. If this was 2022, they would have kissed.
Of course, 100%.
They would have kissed. 100%.
I think it would have been a really good kiss.
Yes, it would have.
Because they're two very attractive men.
Yeah.
And they could have made a good kiss. It'd be like, giving me very much Brokeback Mountain vibes. Very much two just really good looking men kissing.
2010, are we still in that? Are we still in like a very like, we don't know if we like gay stuff being in our entertainment?
It's more acceptable now and people are more used to like same-sex couples kissing in popular media. I think it was still very new back then and still had the potential. And I don't care. Like me, like...
I think it's just so normalized right now.
It's something two women, two men, a man and woman, I don't care. Like, kiss who you want to kiss, love who you love. We only get so many days on earth. Like, just love who you love. I don't give a crud.
And it's Valentine's Day because
let them kiss.
It's Valentine's Day. They love each other. Let them kiss.
Before we get on to like our last couple groups of characters, would you like to do another question?
Let's do it.
Okay.
We might have to refill our drinkies.
I'm feeling it. Zoom, zoom, zom, zoom, zoom. Okay.
Do you want to go for it?
I'm gonna like go up a little bit. Okay, here you go. Who would play me in a movie?
Ooh. Who would play you in a movie?
I have not thought about this in a long time because my original pick for who would play me in a movie now goes by the opposite gender.
Really?
Yes.
Who was it?
I forget his chosen name now.
Elliot Page?
Yes.
Elliot Page.
So it would have been Elliot Page, but he has transitioned, so I don't think that would be the best choice for me now. So I don't know who you'd pick for me.
Ooh, I want you to do the same one for me, but I'm gonna say for you. Oh,
can I like make you jacked and really handsome?
I mean, go for it. They asked me this in my grad school class the other day, like who I thought would play me in a movie. I think you would maybe be like an Allison Brie. Not just because her last name is Brie. I think like you know who that is, right?
I would like to tell you that I took a quiz where it took my face and it chose my celebrity parents.
Who was it?
It was Jason Momoa.
Oh, because you totally look Samoan.
Wait.
Yeah.
And who do you think it could be?
I don't know. I said Allison Brie.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie.
And okay, I'm gonna give you a second though. If you look at both of those people and then look at my face, I could be their child. I could.
I don't know.
I really could.
I'm gonna go with Allison Brie because that's the first name that's coming to mind and the one I think would do a good job.
Can I age you up?
Depends how much.
Because I really think like Keanu Reeves would play a really good...
So my students always say I look like Keanu Reeves.
Like he would be a pretty good dupe. If I was going to make a movie about you as a teacher, like maybe like 10, 20 years down the line.
Is it? Oh, do I get to be like John Wick?
Like Keanu Reeves would be my absolute pick. You look so much alike. Put a pair of glasses on Keanu Reeves that look like you.
Give me a beard. Yeah.
Perfect one. Perfect.
Keanu Reeves and like Bill and Ted.
It would just be absolutely spectacular. Your turn to ask a question.
My turn to ask a question. Let's see.
You can't really get any of my questions wrong.
What is my favorite movie?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That is correct. That's my favorite movie. What's my second favorite movie?
Drive?
No.
No? I'll just drink now.
Yeah. You don't know it?
Should I?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah.
That didn't even cross my mind.
Surprising.
I know.
Your favorite movie.
My favorite movie
is... God, I know your favorite book because of Winn-Dixie.
I know. Which our dog got to and chewed the side of. Yeah. Little turd.
Your favorite movie? I guess I don't know unless I'm just blanking on it right now. What is it? Oh, motherfucker, yeah. It is Jurassic Park, isn't it? Because we both chose to do our favorite movies for
the
podcast, yeah.
So let's get into the last few relationships and endings of this. So we have Emma Roberts and her boyfriend. They've decided that on this day of all days, they're going to have sex for the first time with each other.
Which Emma Roberts is very open about admitting that to people. Like Kristen Schaal plays a teacher and she's like, Emma Roberts, can you help me with the AP test? Like I'm trying, as a teacher who teaches the AP test, I'm like, I feel you. But she's like, I just need help. You've taken the test before. Can you like help these kids along the way? And Emma Roberts is like,
not
well,
today. I'm
not,
having sex.
Yeah, basically she says that. She's like, not today. I'm having sex. And Kristen Shaw is the teacher's like,
oh, okay.
well, have fun.
And so like her
Which
and her boyfriend,
weird thing to tell the teacher, because if a kid told me that, I'd just be like,
911?
you need to leave right now. Like, this is not a conversation I want to have with you.
Her and her boyfriend choose lunchtime at her house. So he goes there first, takes all his clothes off, and starts playing guitar. Her mom comes home, catches him. Instead of putting clothes on, he runs out of the house naked. Mm-hmm. Emma Roberts picks him up, and like his whole thing is he wants to have sex with her, and she does too. But after their failed attempt that evening, I think she kind of loses interest in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially after talking to the old couple, spoiler alert, she picks up the little kid, Emma Roberts' son, who also went to the florist.
No, Julia Roberts' son.
Yeah, Julia Roberts' son, who also went to the florist, who's also in Jennifer Garner's class. Emma Roberts plays the babysitter who picks him up and goes to the grandparents' house, the old couple, and they talk about waiting for the right person and all that stuff. And she's like, but I'm going to this Ivy League and he's going to this Ivy League and we're going to be long distance, and so we feel like we have to do that. And I'm like, is the relationship worth it if you feel like you have to have sex with someone in order to keep them?
No,
not
at all.
You should never feel pressured that you're going to lose someone just because you haven't had sex with them. And then we have Jessica Biel's character, which is the...
You said Justin Timberlake was in this movie. He is not in this movie.
No, he's in a different ensemble movie. So Jessica Biel is a publicist for the football player who also is friends with Jennifer Garner.
Because LA is such a small town.
She knows Jamie Foxx because he wants to get insights onto the football player. And her and Jamie Foxx, like, she hates Valentine's Day. She hosts a anti-Valentine's Day party every year, and she thinks no one's RSVP'd, so no one's gonna come, and she's so stressed and she's so like strung out. She gets to the party, she's the only one there, but then slowly but surely everyone joins, and even Jamie Foxx comes, and he kind of says like, oh, I'm her date, and they kind of share a moment. They obviously are attracted to each other to the point where he leaves, I gotta go back to the station, blah blah, and she's like, I gotta go. Like, she's going to follow him back to the station. They kiss. They have a happy ending.
Happy ending.
The only people who seem to not have a happy ending in this movie are Patrick Dempsey. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
He is last seen laying in bed by himself with a pizza.
He's obviously at a hotel or at his condo. Yeah. By himself. Not with his wife.
Right.
Because his wife found out, and he's probably in the doghouse. Mm-hmm. We have Jessica Alba. Doesn't have a good ending.
She's just seen walking away with a dog.
Yeah, she has, like, she's not with anybody at the end of the day.
I think there's one more, but I can't remember who. I think they all pretty much end up okay.
Yeah, so like they're all pretty much okay. Did I like this movie? Yes. It's a good Valentine's Day movie. I thought it had a really star-studded cast. Like, obviously,
I stopped paying attention, I'll be completely honest. Like, I stopped trying to weave things together and, like, understand it. I know it makes sense, but I'm just like, it's a little tough to keep up with. I have to say, I do think, as I've mentioned before, Punch Drunk Love, in my opinion, is, like, the quintessential romance movie. And I think that when we get into that movie, we're going to really notice like how Paul Thomas Anderson works the camera and works editing and the positions of the characters to display what the feelings of love are.
Oh, listen here, bud. I like to turn my brain off.
But I will say I do think that Valentine's Day has a lot of similar qualities in the sense that it's very much like the feeling of love is like cheesy and weird and awkward a little bit, and that's what we get in this movie. We get a lot of cheesiness, we get a lot of camp, we get a lot of like, maybe the writing's not good, but oh my god, we're all in love type thing.
And I think that's one of the things I like about it. It's like love is, it's hard to explain love. Would you like to end on a question?
Oh yeah, let's do a question to end this thing. Did we do the critique of the movie justice? It's really tough to go beat by beat into this movie.
Obviously,
it's better. I think we did a good job by going through the characters, maybe not all of them individually, but going through their little journeys of love. So, Brie, what is your question for me?
My question for you, is if I had a superpower, what would it be?
I think yours would be super strength.
Everybody.
Would you agree?
I mean, yeah, I'm always like in the difference of, do I want super speed or super strength? Because I could do like
stupid strength.
Oh, super strength. Because I could get like the atomic punch going.
Oh, infinite mass punch. Yeah, the Flash does that. Yeah.
So then I would technically
be super strong.
Yeah, and also I would love to have super speed just so I could like get everywhere I want to go without having to drive a car.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Fast as fuck, boy. Do you know I almost said that to my kids one time?
Oh no.
I just said, I'm fast. I'm fast.
I accidentally swore once.
We had a conversation because one of my kids it slipped out, the word dick slipped out.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
He talked something about cutting the dick off.
So what?
Yeah, it was
said
he
that?
did.
Oh.
The kid said that, and I was like, "That's inappropriate. You'll be inside with recess for me." I was like, and then we had a conversation about sometimes things that we say at home are not appropriate to say at school.
I thought you said
and
that.
I said no potty words in my classroom, and I said, if mom lets you say it at home, fine. But it's still not allowed at school.
Yeah.
I was like, just like, even though you play Grand Theft Auto at home, it is not appropriate to talk about at school because you are technically not old enough to play it.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's why you do not talk about it at school. I was like, we've had the same conversation when some of you are watching that TV show that you're not old enough to watch. I was like, whatever you do at home is your business, but school, we do not swear, we do not talk about inappropriate things. I think we're talking about puppets.
Interesting.
I know.
Conversation.
I know.
I let an F-bomb slip.
This is my one kid who talks about demons all the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's already a little...
I let an F-bomb
unique.
slip once to my freshman class because they just like wouldn't shut up. So I said, I meant to say frickin' because like I can say that and get away with it, but I accidentally let it slip and I was like, you're being fucking disrespectful. And I immediately, like, my heart dropped as soon as I said it because I knew the class got like super quiet after that. Like, oh my god, he just said the F word. And I followed it up with, I don't like to swear, but sometimes I have to because you're not listening to me. And by the end of class, like, I ended up apologizing to them, and I'm like, I really didn't mean to say it, but
Man,
I got the point across, didn't I?
Man, did I get angry? But
I was like, I apologize. Like, it slipped out. I didn't mean to say it. Like, I don't want anybody going home and saying like, oh, Mr. Saw said, whatever. And I was like, I apologize. It slipped out. It won't happen again.
I also like, I told the kids, I was like, sometimes we don't mean to say something and we say it on accident. I'm like, and I'm very forgiving. Like, I understand mistakes happen. I'm like, sometimes adults say things around you that they don't mean to do. And one of the kids is like, yeah, my mom. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to call out our parents right now. I was like, sometimes adults say inappropriate words in front of you on accident. And it's like, and it slips out and they don't mean to do it. I was like, and you pick up those words and then you accidentally say them. I was like, but you need to understand that there are kids in this room where their parents don't want them to know that. They don't, and when they say that word, repeat it at home, parents are like, where did you learn that from? And if you say my class, I'm gonna karate.
Beat you up.
I said, I'm gonna karate chop you. I was like,
judo chop.
And we goof around, and I do crazy stuff in my room because I'm a clown. I do like somersaults in the room. I
explained that to one of the teachers at my school when I was talking about you. I was like, oh, my fiance, teaches elementary school, and that's got to be really hard. How does she like it? I'm like, well, I'll quote her. She's a clown all day. Like, she's putting on a clown show all day. I know.
I do like somersaults in the room.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a performance. That's why I get so tired at the end of each day.
Yeah. Anyway.
What's your question?
Oh, my question. I forgot I had a question. My question is, if you were a Disney character, who would you be?
If I
was a Disney character, who would I be?
You know what? I really feel like you give off...
Tread carefully, because many of them are multicultural, and we don't want to be insensitive.
I was gonna go with Chip.
From Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers?
No, like Mrs. Potts' son, Chip.
Oh, like the little cup.
Yeah.
From Beauty and the Beast.
I don't know.
Why?
He's really adorable, and I think you're adorable.
Oh.
Also, you remind me of Zero Princes.
No, probably not a prince. Maybe like... Who is the Gaston's sidekick?
LeFou? Yeah.
LeFou. Yeah, maybe him.
I also... My mind went immediately to Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, that's a good one. Because I do get angry sometimes.
I know, but you're nice as like anybody would ever know. But sometimes you get angry.
Yeah. Just because I am bad guy does not mean I am bad guy.
Well, Anthony, I have to ask, does this go on your list of the top 100 movies?
Brie, unfortunately, it does not.
Oh, dang.
Unfortunately, it does not.
A single tear escapes my eye.
However, I will have to admire the intricacies of the web that is weaved around these characters in this plot.
You were unable to keep up with it.
I was unable to keep up with it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means there's a lot going on, and it works. It works. Everything here is its own little mini movie. There's something here for everybody. And I think this is a really nice turn your brain off Valentine's Day movie. Turn your brain off romance movie. You cried.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I thought you did.
No.
You got
a wiener? No.
Yeah, Brie, you cried in Man of Steel.
What is there to cry about?
Died.
There's nothing that was sad about this movie.
You, what was sad that you were
I did not cry. I'm not a wiener. I did not cry. Also, this does not make it on my top 100 either.
Do you have a reason?
Not that it's, I mean, I like it.
It's such a high profile list.
I like it. But like it's not saying anything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like not one of those romance. I don't think any ensemble movie really makes the cut. Maybe the Christmas one.
I think that these are just like it's nice to know how crazy it is to write one of these movies and like make everything make sense and make all these characters relate to each other. But I do think that these are somewhat money grabs.
Especially when they have all star-studded cast.
Yeah.
And like New Year's is the same way where they have Justin Timberlake. Like that's clearly a cash grab. He is not a good actor.
You don't think Justin Timberlake is a good... we disagree on that. Okay. I think he's a great actor.
I'm Brie.
I'm Anthony. If you would like to follow us on any of our socials, You can always find podcasts, the review podcast, anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Wherever you're listening to it right now is probably an okay place. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel, Review Podcast. You can find us on YouTube for our video modem, although I do think that might be coming to an end pretty soon.
Don't be too sad.
Yeah, don't be too sad about that one. But
and then you can check us out on Instagram.
review_pod, and you can follow myself on Twitter at GLDTV1 for any updates and all that good stuff, supplementary content, whatever we need to do on any of our socials. Follow us for whatever. You can also reach us if you have any questions or any recommendations at our Gmail, which is also linked in the show notes.
Our next pod that for a holiday, we're thinking
St. Patrick's Day.
If you have any ideas for that, like, please send them our way, because we have a couple ideas, but it's always nice to get other people's ideas as well.
And I think what I enjoyed about this, like, a kind of non-canon pod, this filler arc pod, was that we got to talk about the movie, but we also like talked about other things too, and it was nice. It was nice talking with you. Yeah. So I think that'll be it for us. Brie, we will sign off, I think. I am Anthony.
I'm Brie.
And this is the Review Podcast. We will see you on Saturday.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Review podcast. Stay on the Review Podcast.